Good morning, Emerson. Today is Thursday, April 11th, and on today's show, we'll be giving an update on the turmoil in North Korea.
And Justin Chun is back in the GME kitchen to whip us up an Italian meal worthy of the North End.
It's going to be good. He traveled long and far, all 15 minutes away from campus to get to the North End, but he brought back some good food, so it was all worth it.
I know, and everybody in studio always enjoys everything that he brings.
Yes, and then we clean up, and that's not nearly as fun. I'm Joshua Sakai.
And I'm Megan Mitchell. Welcome to Good Morning Emerson.
So Megan, today we actually wanted to talk about this interesting trend we've been seeing, this idea of politicians who have gone through these scandals, exactly, trying to make these comebacks, and the comeback's actually going fairly successfully.
Yeah, so Anthony Weiner, if anyone remembers him, he was caught, sending a little bit of racy pictures via Twitter, so it was kind of blasted to the whole world. But then he deleted them, but the media, of course, picked them back up. Media frenzy. Everyone went crazy.
Yeah, he was a married man sending some topless photos to other women via the Twitter sphere. It didn't go too well, but now sources close to Weiner are saying he's actually mulling over a run for mayor of New York. Which
would be very interesting because, he himself is very very liberal. So is New York City. So it could be a good match. But will the people of New York City think so?
Exactly, and it's an interesting question. Can voters look past that? Even in South Carolina, which is a little bit more conservative, former Governor Mark Sanford, you probably remember him.
Yes.
He's the one who left the state for a week. No one knew where he was.
He was in Argentina.
With his mistress. So that didn't go too well for him either, as you can imagine.
But he won the Republican primary in South Carolina.
Exactly.
And is now racing against
Stephen Colbert's sister, a very competitive congressional race. So it looks like voters, at least Republican voters there, able to look past that.
Right, and I think this also kind of goes into the fact, like, what is the media focusing on within the political career? Is it, the policy that they're making? Is it the things that they're doing for their constituents? Or is it things that they're doing in their personal lives that may not necessarily affect the outcome of, policy within the state or within the city?
Yeah, some people would say you could look back historically at a lot of these politicians with these scandals.
Yeah.
If it's not some kind of criminal act, it's not necessarily a death stroke. For instance, Bill Clinton.
Exactly. I think Bill Clinton is a very, very good example of this, and how not really making a political comeback, but definitely I think he appealed to a lot of people even after he, had his scandal going on. But for more alarming news coming out of North Korea today, here's Tamara Skarzik.
Thanks, guys. The Korean Peninsula may be on the brink of war. Early this week, North Korea warned foreigners to leave South Korea, threatening nuclear action. U.S. defense officials have stated they are highly confident North Korea will launch missiles toward South Korea. World leaders are concerned about nuclear capabilities, including China authorities, who halted all tourism in the north. A spokesman from the United States Senate Armed Service Committee said in a statement the U.S. is prepared for a missile launch and has the capabilities to intercept one. Senate Democrats arrived to the first showdown vote for gun restrictions, armed and ready. The family members of 8 Newtown victims joined senators on Capitol Hill Monday with hopes of gaining support through lobbying lawmakers. An emotional speech delivered by Neil Heslin, the father of 6-year-old victim Jesse Lewis, provoked emotions all around the room.
He was my son, he was my buddy, he was my best friend. And I never thought I'd be here speaking like this.
However, 14 GOP senators against restrictions have threatened to filibuster to block a vote on the issue. Even when banning all assault weapons was removed from the bill, both sides of the Senate are working on a compromise allowing a vote for tougher background checks. If negotiations fail, so will bipartisan support. In local politics, Stephen Lynch isn't giving up without a fight. The Senate hopeful went head-to-head with front-runner Edward Markey during their debate Monday night. Lynch spent the debate arguing himself out of recent controversy over his opinions on abortion and his vote against President Obama's health care bill. But that didn't stop Markey from taking full advantage of his opponent's weakness, questioning his support for women.
Steve, he had a chance 3 years ago to vote for or against the Stupak Amendment, which would deny a woman the insurance coverage she would need in order to make that choice. And he voted for that amendment to deny that access.
Markey continued pressuring the issue by mentioning abortion right organizations who are backing him in the election. But the Malden Democrat didn't take shots with open arms. Lynch ended the night by pointing fingers at Markey for spending more time on Capitol Hill than in the Bay State. The U.S. representatives have 3 short weeks until April 30th primary. Parents may need to think twice before letting their children near life-size cartoon characters. A man dressed up as the Cookie Monster was arrested in Times Square for allegedly pushing a 2-year-old boy this past weekend. The Cookie Monster fraud grew angry after the boy's mom refused to tip him for taking a photo with her son. The man verbally assaulted the woman and proceeded to push and curse at her son. The 33-year-old behind the mask was arrested shortly after and is being charged with endangering the welfare of a child. The boy walked away from the traumatizing event without injury. Those are this morning's headlines. It's time to head back to your hosts, Josh and Megan.
All right, thanks, Tammy. Stay away from foam Muppets, I guess. All right, thanks for that. So, Tammy, look, this Senate race, it's been an uphill battle for Lynch all the way. Even just financially, Lynch has some $700,000 in his war chest. Markey, by comparison, has almost $2 million. But speaking to that debate specifically, who do you think walked away with the upper hand?
Well, you know, Josh, after watching it over and over again, I think that Markey definitely would receive the gold medal for that debate, mainly because they are trying to appeal to very liberal people. It is a Democratic primary, and Markey is more opinionated with social issues that are liberal and fiscal issues that are liberal, where Lynch is more moderate. So if it was actually the race itself, I would give it to Lynch, but because it's a Democratic primary, I say Markey.
Great.
Great.
Thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, now switching gears, we're going to go to weather. And so let's see if our string of good luck continues into the weekend.
Thanks, Megan and Josh. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, then you have to be asking yourself, where did all that gorgeous weather go? Last time I talked to you guys, we were up in the 70s. The 70s, for goodness sake. But I am sorry to say that today we will only be reaching the mid-40s, and we will be seeing some clouds, and tomorrow we'll be getting some rain. But by Saturday, the sun will be back out, bringing some warm weather with it. Let's go to the 5-day now. Today will be a cloudy day with a high of 46 and a low of 41. On Friday, we'll be rainy with a high of 47 and a low of 44. But on Saturday, we'll be back up to a high of 59 and a low of 37. On Sunday, partly cloudy again, with just a high of 55 and a low of 39. And on Monday for Patriots Day, partly cloudy with a beautiful high of 64 and a low of 49. And that sounds like beautiful weather for Marathon Monday. So enjoy the weekend because it will be a nice one. And stick through these next few days. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, so speaking of Marathon Monday, let's talk sports for a minute because the Red Sox got the win Tuesday, but it wasn't all smiles. With more on that, here's Anthony Chasse.
The Red Sox are shaking off the injury deja vu from Saturday. Pitcher John Lackey is currently on the 15-day disabled list for an injured bicep. Luckily for Lackey, it was not the elbow that previously required surgery. The injury occurred after Lackey threw 2 wild pitches and showed discomfort. However, there is still some good news for the Sox. Shortstop Stephen Drew was reactivated by the team after suffering from a concussion. Following a Montreal loss on Tuesday, it's a deadlock for the NHL Northeast Division. The Bruins hope to take it all for Boston last night. However, New Jersey is working on a playoff run of its own. The Devils dropped 8 straight games going into last night and are in jeopardy of not making the playoffs for only the 2nd season in 17 years. Let's take a look at the action from the Prudential Center last night. No, not that Prudential Center. We are in Newark, New Jersey, folks. Bruins up 3-0, and Zdeno Chara might as well tack on another one. Bruins up 4-0 now, but New Jersey would come back with 3 goals. 40 seconds left now. Matt D'Agostini gets it past Rask. All of a sudden, it's a 1-goal game here, but Boston would hang on in the final seconds. They now have sole possession of first place in the division. Spring has officially sprung, and so have golf's Masters as Augusta, Georgia prepares for the sport's greatest tradition. Of course, one competitor always manages to steal the show, or at least the pre-show. Tiger Woods won 6 tournaments the last 13 months, and at age 37, he's back as #1. Tiger spoke a few days ago and stated that he's not going anywhere.
That's one of the neat things about our career. It's so long. We have an opportunity to play, basically 30 years solidly at a high level.
Tiger tees off less than 2 hours from now. It's time to cut to the chase on Connecticut women's basketball. It's triumph ×8. Coach Gino Auriemma tied the illustrious Pat Summitt Tuesday night with his 8th national title after defeating Louisville 93-60. But it couldn't be done without his players. Freshman Breanna Stewart received the Outstanding Player Achievement Award for the Final Four. UConn never won by less than 18 points throughout the entire tournament. That's your sports. Now back to the GME champions, Josh and Megan.
With only 3 seniors on the women's UConn team, do you see the Huskies running the table again next year?
Yes, Megan. They're the New York Yankees of women's basketball. I definitely think it can happen. And, unlike the men's game, these women aren't getting drafted to the pros in their first or second year. So Breanna Stewart, you can expect her to come back and be even better than she is now. They're going to be a very exciting team to watch down the stretch. As long as Gino Auriemma is at the helm, they're going to be in it every year, I think.
All right, now, Anthony, let's talk golf for a moment. Arnold Palmer is there. He's probably going to win, I think. Guy never ages. But if Tiger is able to take home that green jacket, once again, are we thinking this will cement his comeback in the world of sports?
Well, I think Tiger's mind is just focused on one hole at a time, one round at a time. He's not focused on whether people are hating on him, loving him, saying he's back. But I think if he wins, it would be a huge triumph for him.
All right, thanks for that, Anthony. By the way, I saw that video clip. It looks like it might be like Tiger's evil twin with the goatee. That was new, but you're right. That'll be something to look for. Thanks for that, Anthony. We're going to actually take a quick commercial break.
But be sure to stay tuned because when we return, we'll be talking with Anthony again to preview the Boston Marathon.
All right, welcome back, Emerson. It's that time of year again.
The Boston Marathon this Monday is with us, and now here's Good Morning Emerson's own Anthony Chasse to speak with us about the upcoming event.
And Anthony, thanks for coming back. It's always nice when we get an Anthony Chasse twofer. But Anthony, here's what we're curious about. In terms of U.S. competitors, is there anyone we should be keeping an eye on this year?
Well, Josh, it's going to be another tough year for American runners. I hate to say it, but that's been the trend the past couple decades. Earlier in the year, they deemed 40 athletes as the elite of the group, and over half of those are from African descent. But for the women, we can expect Shalane Flanagan from Marblehead, Massachusetts. She's a United States native, and she's in it to win it. She says she's not going for a time, she's going to win. She's 31 years old. I think she can pull it off if she has her best race ever. For the men, we also have Jason Hartman, who came in 4th overall last year, but he's going to be in that pack with Kenyan Wesley Career, who won it last year, and it's going to be tough for him too. I'm expecting, more Kenyans in the winner's circle.
Yeah. Now this marathon is like huge, especially within Boston, because 500,000 people come out to watch this marathon every year. And
I mean, it's legendary. It's the oldest marathon in the United States. It's also the fastest, fun fact, median time of 3 hours and 44 minutes.
I just can't fathom ever running for that long and going that fast because, I'm a 2-mile treadmill person.
But
so,
I'm the same way. But some Emerson students apparently in better shape than we are. Friend of the show, Lauren Cortizo, running. Brendan Scully, another Emerson student, and Christian Bergen Aragon, some names to look out for. And by the way, thank you again to Anthony Chasse for dropping in again to talk about that with us.
Absolutely.
But now it looks like it's time to jump into the lives of the rich and famous.
And with that, let's throw it over to Logan Levitt.
Thanks, guys. Some of today's biggest stars are getting involved with criminal justice reform. Rapper Lil Wayne and director Ron Howard are calling for President Barack Obama to change the current drug and jail policies. Celebrities like Scarlett Johansson, Kim Kardashian, and Will Smith are also part of the movement. The group praises the president's efforts toward drug incarceration reform, but insists the time is right to move toward replacing jail sentences with intervention and rehabilitation for nonviolent offenders. Rap mogul Russell Simmons assembled a group of more than 100 celebrities. Who knew that Paris Hilton would be getting all political on us? Lindsay Lohan is off to rehab next month, but she first had to face David Letterman. The troubled actress appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman Tuesday to discuss her upcoming appearance in Scary Movie 5. However, Letterman turned the tables on Lohan and began to ask about her upcoming rehab stint and her addiction problems. However, Lohan says she'll do whatever she has to do to get back to acting.
I'm the happiest when I'm working and the healthiest, and I think this is an opportunity for me to, focus on what I love in life, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
Lohan looked uncomfortable throughout the entire interview, especially during the parts discussing her past issues. She's expected to begin her lockdown rehab sentence on May 2nd. Alec Baldwin may be headed back to NBC, except this time in a later time slot. The former 30 Rock star is reportedly in talks to join NBC's late-night lineup. NBC is looking to switch up their entire late-night lineup. This news comes a week after it was confirmed that Jay Leno will be leaving The Tonight Show to be replaced by Jimmy Fallon next year. The spot that Baldwin is potentially being offered is the spot currently held by Carson Daly's show, Last Call. Baldwin currently has a radio spot on WNBC Radio. Finally, all is not well for Clay Aiken. The former American Idol contestant had a fright after an alleged fan broke onto his North Carolina property for what she called her own personal meet and greet. The scariest part of the story is that she actually got through security and was knocking on his window. Aiken was reportedly home when the woman arrived at his house. Barbara Saylor, who traveled all the way from Washington State, was arrested for stalking and trespassing. She's scheduled to appear in court on April 24th. Pretty scary stuff. Now it's time to send it back to the couch with Megan and Josh.
All right, thanks for that, Logan. A little scarier, less scary over here on the couch. So let's talk Alec Baldwin. He's considered one of the greatest SNL hosts of all time. What was that last sketch they did? He's like the patriarch of the Five Timers Club. But do we think he's going to find as much success hosting, his own late night talk show?
Well, we all know Alec Baldwin's a very funny guy. He is an awesome SNL host, and I think he'll be a great late night host. We'll just have to see if they actually offer it to him. I know there's a few people who are potentially being offered that position, so we'll have to see if it goes to Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Now, this crime and drug drug reform policy really is a big issue in our country, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. But can celebrities be as influential in getting the average citizen to understand and advocate for criminal justice reform?
Well, I think celebrities are very influential. I know with the It Gets Better campaign, celebrities came out in support of same-sex marriage, and it really has made an influence. Same-sex marriage is constantly in the news now. So I think when it comes to this reform, celebrities could be influential. We'll just have to see how much publicity it does get.
Thanks, Logan. We need to take another time out, but when we return, Justin, Josh, and I will feast on an Italian meal.
All right, welcome back, Emerson. If you are, by chance, a fan of Italian foods, well, then you're in for a treat.
You are, because Justin Chun is here to tell us the secret of Boston's North End Italian cooking. Justin?
Thanks, Josh and Megan. That's right. This week, I took advantage of the warm weather, and I took a stroll over to the North End. Now, somebody once told me that any restaurant on Hanover Street that you try is bound to be good. So I put it to the test at La Dolce Vita. If you're planning on visiting Boston, a trip to the historic North End is a must, but the main drag Hanover Street can be a little overwhelming. So many places to get pasta, pizza, cannolis, but I have the solution for you. At 221 Hanover Street, La Dolce Vita restaurant offers home-cooked Sicilian meals in a trendy and intimate atmosphere. What's not to like? I'm here with Franco Griceffa, owner of La Dolce Vita. Franco.
Oh, welcome, pleasure.
Are there any menu favorites, any specialties that you guys do here at La Dolce Vita?
We don't even work with the menu. Our menu is very big, but we do a lot of traditional Italian food from Sicily to Calabria to Naples. It's a lot of variety of things. So when you come to Dolce Vita, you just have to ask what you feel like having, and we make it for you. It doesn't have to be on the menu.
Why don't we head back to the kitchen and see how some of these are made?
We have a U12 shrimps. We cut it, we peel it, okay? We devein it, we take the black stuff out inside over here. We're gonna put it in flour, egg. We put it with cornflakes. We're gonna put some hot oil pan, put a little orange over here, okay? And we're gonna saute the shrimp, okay? Now we're gonna wait until this gets a nice orange color.
All right, so what was that we just put in?
Just a little Grand Marnier. Now we use a little orange juice. I think we're ready. It doesn't take too long. Now we're gonna dress up the dish. There we go.
So what we have here is a shrimp Grand Marnier. That is amazing. And now I've just learned this. Molto buono.
Molto buono in Italiano.
Very good, and you know, it is absolutely delicious. Everybody should try this if they get a chance. I'm just gonna keep eating this, so I'll see you guys back in the studio. I have my mouth full.
All right, guys, welcome back. And Justin, you've prepared a feast worthy of the North End for us. What do you got?
I have, Josh. I decided to bring a little bit of that Italian cooking, that Sicilian cooking that I got into our own GME kitchen, as you call it. So what I've got for you today are meatballs. What we're going to be doing is...
It's like good, like fundamental, simple Italian food.
Definitely, and then you can eat it on your own. You can put it in pasta. But
you know what? It's always so hard to make. You know, I've had pretty bad meatballs before, and I have. Like, I feel like they're so hard to get right.
Well, you know what? We're going to try and simplify that process for you with ingredients that we can get at our local store. So let's start it off. I have a pound of ground beef that I've put in this lovely glass bowl.
Great.
I'm just going to crack an egg over it, and then Josh, I'm going to ask you to go right in and mix it up.
Just dive right in there?
Yep.
All right, this is how TV is made, people.
All right, so that
With
egg in there
with gloves
to hold it all together. All right, Josh, go ahead.
Just mush that in.
Get your hands dirty.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the egg is, of course, one of the first ingredients. We're going to start dry.
You know, Justin, probably should have taken off my jacket before I started doing that.
I should probably have a hairnet.
I cook in a blazer or sometimes a dress. But the next thing we're going to add is a half cup of onions that I have diced ahead of time. So, Megan, if you want to go ahead and pour that in.
So I guess I
while Josh
don't
is getting
really
his
need the
hands
gloves,
dirty.
but you know.
Gotta get your hands
safety.
dirty in TV.
Well, you know what, Megan?
Also,
you can take a turn, too.
Eggs and raw meat, this is like the absolute,
Come on, Megan, dive right in there.
feeding ground for salmonella, all of these types of, I'm like being the narc.
Well, that is why we cook it very thoroughly, so no worries. By the time we get a finished product, we'll be all set.
We're gonna spice this guy up now, I'm assuming.
Well, next we're going to get breadcrumbs. We also have a half a cup of breadcrumbs. Josh, go ahead and add that in now while Megan's having her fun.
For the sake of expediency, you're going to shotgun those in there. There we go. And so, and then after the breadcrumbs, all the breadcrumbs?
Now, how much actually are the onions and how much breadcrumbs are in these bowls, just so we can get an estimate?
Both half cups.
Okay.
For that. Now we're going to move on to our wet ingredients. We're going to have to go over to our milk.
I don't know if I should. Okay.
I can always add these if you guys have your hands dirty.
I just realized this. I did not realize that. Milk.
Okay.
Yep, milk. We have 1/4 of a cup of milk, so go on and add that.
So we got some milk in there.
I feel bad. I'm touching everything with these meaty hands.
All right, Josh, keep on mixing.
Or Megan.
Or Megan.
GME is it's a very competitive cooking environment here on GME.
I would say it's a very family-oriented cook. Look at us. We're like me, now you.
Families fight. Anyway,
so what we're going to go on to next is a ½ teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, man. This I'm looking forward to.
Add a little bit.
And just a little bit, though. Just ½ a teaspoon,
Just
right?
a ½ teaspoon. And if you don't have Worcestershire sauce, or you can't say Worcestershire sauce, you can add a teriyaki sauce. You can add soy sauce. You can add A1. Anything that's going to give
So this is where you can really be creative
some flavor.
with the taste.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anything to give that pow, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
And since Megan looks like she really literally got her hands dirty, I'm going to go ahead and excuse the reach and add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Just a little bit. You can also do this to taste. It doesn't have to be measured, but for the sake of consistency, I'm going to go ahead and say that 1/4 of teaspoon.
Okay.
Great.
All right. We're gonna put that in, and I'm assuming we're gonna mold them now.
I know. I feel
Probably
like
into a ball form.
We are going to mold them, so you guys have your own personal pan over there.
Oh, great.
I'm going to start in on this one, and you want the meatballs to be about 1 inch thick.
Okay.
Putting those together. And
now,
while
is this why 1 inch thick? Why can't you create one big meatball, which is what I wanted to do at first?
Well, just for the sake of cooking it
because
through,
our producers wouldn't let us. That's
that
why.
might be a little bit hard. And while you're doing this, you know, for the viewers at home, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and cook these meatballs in there on these pans. Right. You don't even have to grease it, but you cook them for about 20 to 25 minutes.
And you're gonna get a good meatball, and you're gonna end. I'm gonna grab one of these guys. Meatball. You're gonna end with this guy, no matter what you call it, and that looks nice, Justin.
It really does.
Yeah. I'm gonna have one of these after I take off my gloves. But Justin, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Tasty treat from Boston's North End.
Absolutely.
What a show we had today. But remember to tune in next week because we're breaking out the runway with Jasmine Jacob.
Thanks for watching. Good morning, Emerson.
These actually look really good.
You know what they are?